This is a Passengers United special report on the Long Island Railroad strike.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Charlton D'Souza from Passengers United. And again, we are getting ready and bracing ourselves for a possible LIRR strike that starts at midnight tonight. Again, we have many service alternatives. Joining us on this call is Matt Camper. Jack, can you go with the music? Joining us on this call is going to be Matt Camper, and we have our friend from Port Washington, who's a rider, Adam Wittestein. We also have the Passengers United team also on this live stream. So right now, I'm going to have Jack pull up the nice bus. Actually, let's go to the MTA's website first. Let's start there. So if you could screen share the MTA's website so we could all see it. So there's a couple of things that I need all of you to understand. One, the MTA will be prorating monthly and weekly tickets subject to an MTA board approval, which might happen on Wednesday. This is if there is a strike at 12:01 a.m. tonight, which we're hoping there isn't. So what I need all of you Long Islanders who use the railroad to do is, one, know your options. Very, very important. So you're probably wondering, where can I find the LIRR strike and service suspension information on the MT's website? So as we're showing you right now, you can click on the top banner over there where it says get more details. And Jack, do you want to go on that? So possible LIRR strike and service suspension on May 16th. A Long Island Railroad strike may impact service. Get details on shuttle bus service, accessible travel information, and more. And a possible LIRR strike starting May 16th. Please scroll down. Thank you. So, some Long Island Railroad unions have threatened to strike as early as May 16th, Saturday. If a strike happens, LIRR service would be forced to shut down entirely. And basically, it tells you, the impact it's going to have. Now, the railroad is urging people to work from home if possible. But for our first responders, our EMTs, our police officers, our firefighters, our teachers, and our government hospital workers who work in hospitals, they have to go to work. So, unfortunately, the LIRR's backup shuttle bus plan, which is not really empty shuttle buses. I want to make that very clear. These could be school buses. These could be rented coaches, but they're not going to be empty buses from Queens or Brooklyn or from the city. So just be aware of that. And these buses, I was told, is only going to run every 8 to 10 minutes, just so you know. And so that really is not, I would say that option is going to get pretty packed pretty soon. But there is some ways to get around, and we're going to go through that. So let me just mention the shuttle bus thing. Or Matt, did you want to talk about this?
Into the nice bus details, and there's another thing in regard to a major event this week I want to talk about as well.
So Matt, why don't we talk about the shuttle? Since we're on shuttle buses now, I'm talking about the LIRR shuttle bus plan. Jack, why don't you pull up the Bayshore plan? Let's talk about that real quick. Click on where it says Bayshore, peak and reverse peak direction service. You see highlighted in the blue? Right there. So basically, all it's showing us right now is just a map. It's not even explaining to us where the buses are going to be. But these buses are supposed to be going to 179th Street and Hillside. So let's go back to the page back there. That's going to take you to Howard Beach JFK Airport. And again, guys, every time the A train has been out over there, it's been issues. So I don't know if that's a very reliable option. I think if you want to do like a drop off, if you want to have your husband or wife or family drop you off, that could be an option. However, getting in there, it's a private parking lot at Port Authority, just so you know. So I think if you're driving on the belt, you might be actually better off going to Aqueduct Conduit. That's easier because then you could just get on the A train. You don't have to go to Port Authority parking lot. And that might be an option for you. Or You could drive to the A train on Lefferts, and that's even a better option for you. Or you could just go to 179th or Parsons Archer or Flushing Main Street. So now they have a bus from Huntington to Jamaica 179th Street and Hillside. Again, Jack, they're not showing us anything there right now, so let's just go back to the main page. And then there's going to be a bus from Ronkonkoma, Jamaica 179th Street. So let's go back. Now, for those of you on the Port Washington branch, there will be no shuttle buses for you. The only thing you guys have is the N23, which you can take to the N20H, which is going to take you to Great Neck, and then you'll have to get on the N20G. Matt, we can't hear you, Matt. I think Matt was trying to say something. And then we also have peak direction service only, and that's going to be from Hempstead Lake State Park near Lakeview. And then, so basically, these shuttle buses, guys, are going to be jammed up because I have a feeling everyone's going to go through there. And, I think right now, let's focus on Nice Bus because I think there's more capacity on Nice Bus. And also the express buses, which we're going to get to in a minute. So why don't we get to Nice Bus? Matt, did you want to say anything about Nassau County Express?
Yeah, so Nice Bus, I definitely will say, Nice Bus is definitely, if you, especially you live in Nassau County, I definitely would recommend Nice Bus. Although again, I'm not sure whether or not they're going to have. I don't. My understanding is I don't think they're going to have extra capacity, which is the unfortunate thing.
So Erica
But
told me from Nassau County Express that they will be running some extra buses, and they will have extra supervision out. But what will happen is the express buses on the N4 and the N6X, they will probably end up going local, so they don't leave anyone stranded. That's the plan that I'm hearing from Nice Bus. So that's what they'll be doing. All the expresses will go local, so they can pick up as much people as they can on the buses to take them to 179th Street. Now, there will be no cross honoring of LIRR passes on Nice Bus. Just to make it very clear, you're going to have to pay with Omni. So if you have not refilled your Omni card, now is the time to go to Walgreens, go to a check cashing place, and refill up on Omni if you can. And the it's what is it? For the fare capping, for the 12-day fare capping, you want to put $35 on your card, put an extra dollar, so that's 36. And if you buy it at a retail store, I believe it's an extra $5. Or if you buy it at a subway station, it's only $1. So it's probably going to cost you like $37. Again, we don't know how long the strike is going to be. So my advice to all of you who have not bought an LIRR weekly ticket, you might just want to go that option. It depends. It's up to you. And yeah, Matt, take it away.
Oh,
okay,
and
so
you can
definitely.
also use your tap a credit card if you're willing to share that information with Nice if you don't have a physical Omni card.
Right. That those for people who don't really use Omni. But yeah, okay. You're right, Adam. Yep, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Adam. So, as far as Nice Bus is concerned, especially I will say this on the South Shore, where in Nassau County, where there are no shuttle bus options for you, I definitely recommend if you happen to be anywhere between Freeport and Valley Stream, definitely take advantage of the N4. That will take you directly to Jamaica Center, where you can transfer to the E, J, or Z lines to get into the city that way. That's just a better way than trying to deal with all the traffic because it's going to be gridlock if this strike happens. Now, if you're in Hicksville, Mineola, along the main line, definitely consider using the N22 or the N24. Now, keep in mind, if you're coming from Hicksville and you use the N22 or the N24, you're going to have to transfer. Now, the N22, you would have to transfer at Mineola. The N24, you would have to transfer at Roosevelt Field for another either N22 or N24. So keep that in mind. Now, the Far Rockaway, Mont Avenue, which again, as Charlton mentioned, I would not recommend. It's not reliable. But if you do, you can take the N31. There's also an N31 Express that does run. So keep that in mind, along with the N32, 33. Flushing Main Street, you can take the N20G or the N20. There's an N20 Express that also does run on the weekdays. So that is an option if you want to rely on the 7 from Flushing Main Street. And then obviously Jamaica Bus Terminal, which is a short walk from the Jamaica 169th Street station. You can take the N16 Express, 22 Express, 24, or
Oh,
26.
Matt. Just a side note, guys. There's issues at Jamaica Bus Terminal because of construction right now. Nice buses are stopping on 89th Avenue on the side streets. So obviously, you want to get on at 169th to avoid the crowds at 179th Street because a lot of people get off at 179th. So you want to use that shortcut. Take it away, Matt.
Okay, so did not realize that because again, I don't go through that area typically. But now the passenger drop off location. Charlton was mentioning about this earlier, but there are other options in addition to the ones that were mentioned. As far as Aqueduct Racetrack, along with the station along the A line right by JFK Airport. But you can also use as an option Kew Gardens Union Turnpike. If you can get off the Van Wyck Expressway and actually no, the Grand Central Parkway, and then drop people off at Kew Gardens Union Turnpike, along with Sheepshead Bay. If you happen to be in Brooklyn for whatever reason, or Woodhaven Boulevard, so
But I
just keep
will
that in
say,
mind.
Matt, Kew Gardens, by the time you get the trains are going to be crush loaded at Kew Gardens Union Turnpike. So I would strongly advise those people get on at the first stop so you get a seat because you're not going to be able to get on those trains. It's going to be very crowded. And one thing I was going to say at 179th Street, in the 1993 strike that they had, I remember they had police barricades. So people had to line up when they got off the buses to get into the subway station. And I suspect NYPD will have lineups and they'll have barricades where people will be lined up for crowding conditions. So that's why I would get on at those terminal stations. The MT's plan, I feel like this plan, they designed it like Woodhaven Boulevard. 71st Continental could be an option because you're getting a first ride seat on that M and R train, so that could work. I don't know about Kew Gardens Union Turnpike. It could work for some people, but just be mindful. You may have to wait for a couple of trains to pass before you can get on. And then, Matt, did you want to mention the Port Washington?
Yeah, so the Port Washington branch, as was mentioned earlier.
Friday night.
Adam, did you want to jump in?
Sorry about that. Somebody called me from upstairs. So I apologize about that. As far as the Port Washington branch is concerned, again, no shuttle buses are going to be available for the Port Washington branch. So if you want to use, if you're going from Great Neck, again, take the N20. What's the N20G? That will
And
take you
23.
directly to Flushing Main Street.
And 23.
The N23 or the N20G. No, I'm talking about Great Neck. If you're going from, for
Oh,
example,
N20,
Great Neck.
N20G. The N23 is not through Great Neck. That's for Port Washington.
Correct. Yes, N23 is for Port Washington. You would have to transfer on Northern Boulevard for the N20 what is it? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's at the N20H?
Yeah, because it goes to Great Neck.
The
And then you have to
the
get on the N20.
N20G goes to Queens. The N20H goes from Great Neck to Hicksville. So leaving Great Neck Station, it would be the N20G.
Right. So Port Washington customers are really screwed because they'll have to take 3 buses literally and a subway. Man, that's crazy.
Well,
So
Great Neck, you can get right on the N20G, but if you're coming from Manhasset or Port Washington, you have to get to Great Neck first.
right.
So that's the trouble there. The 2014 strike had which didn't happen, had plans for Manhasset busing, but as seems to have been the case the last couple of years, the LIRR has forgotten about Port Washington.
And that's disgusting on the MTA. Shame on the MTA. And we
Absolutely.
do want to advise people do not get in Uber Uber will rip you off as well as all those app companies. Stay away from the app companies. They will charge
Exactly.
you
Well,
$400, 500. They're scum of the earth. They will rip you off. So don't use them. My advice to you is just leave early. If you have to be at work at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., people should be leaving. I would say you want to get a head start at 5:30, 5 o'clock. If I'm correct, would that work, guys? What do you think?
yeah, yeah. I normally work in Floral Park, and I have to get from East Meadow, so I have a
No, no, man,
contingency
I'm talking
plan.
about people from the city going into New York City.
Right, but I'm just talking about because I work in Floral Park, and I have a contingency plan where I'm leaving my house at 7 a.m. because I have to be in work at 10 to give myself a little extra time.
Right. That's a little bit too extra time, but I would say just if your normal LIR commute is 45 minutes or an hour, I would say just add on 2 hours to that because again, there's going to be overcrowding. You may want to eat before you get on the trains. Make sure you take your vitamins, drink your water, and
And
because
that's if you have to work too. The MTA is also advising people if you have the option to work from home, if you have the option to work remotely, do that so you can reduce
but
the
this
overcrowding as
video
much as possible, if
this
that is
video
possible.
is really geared towards our people who have to work. Um,
Exactly.
and
If you
that's
do
why we're
have to
doing this
work, my
video.
hope is
Right.
that those who have the option will do so to relieve congestion as much as possible.
So why don't we go? Did we want to show them the city routes like the N6, the N1? Why don't we show them the nice bus map? We'll come to this back in a second. Oh, right there. Beautiful. So the N1 actually has low ridership, and the N1 in the mornings goes to 179th Street. So if you live in Valley Stream, Huyulit, Elmont, N1 might be a go-to bus. And I'm sure these buses are going to be packed, but that will be a cheaper option to get you to the subway. And remember, if you use Omni, you get a free transfer. So let's go back. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to N6. The N6 is going to be crush loaded, but for those of you who don't know, the N6 starts at Hempstead Transit Terminal right next to the Hempstead branch of the LIRR. That's going to take you all the way to Jamaica, and they should be running Arctics, hopefully. Um, but again, that'll take you right to 179th. You can get on the F, and again, you just use your Omni. You get a free transfer. Let's go to the next one real quick. The N6X, so again, like I said before, Nice Bus might combine the N6Xs into locals so they can pick up as many people along the route. So let's go to the next one. N22. So the N22 is probably going to get crush loaded. I know the 22 is actually a good option. Now, for those of you, here's a little trick. So if you take the 22, and let's say you don't want to get on the subway, but you're willing to spend 725, you can get off at Floral Park and what is it, 240 6th Street and get on the X68 bus, the QM68 bus, which will take you into Manhattan. Did we want to show them the QM68 schedule? And the MT didn't even mention it. The MT is they don't want people to know about the expresses. But I'm sure this is the express bus. It's called the QM68. It's a coach bus for those of you who are scared to get on the subway. And again, I don't blame you. The subways are dangerous. But trust me, there's going to be thousands and thousands of people on the subway. I don't think the crazies will be out because there'll be no space for them. So, again, you have weekday service to Manhattan. The first bus leaves Hillside and 267th Street at 6 a.m. And the last bus is at 9. And it takes you so when you go into Manhattan, when you come out of the Midtown Tunnel, it's going to go down 2nd Avenue to 23rd Street. Then it takes 23rd all the way up Madison. That could be an option for you. So that's an affordable option, and it's only so if you use Nice Bus, you get a transfer to the express bus with Omni, and the full fare should be 725. So let's go back to the next express bus. Let's show them the 64. So we're going to go to the QM64. Let's show them that. and this runs on Linden Boulevard. Now, this bus has very low ridership on Linden, so I think for those of you who live closer to Dutch Broadway, Elmont, on the South Shore, you may want to get on the QM64. There'll definitely be seats for you, and if the bus driver is nice, maybe they'll let you stand up. Because I think they probably will, but only to a certain point. So you could ride this bus. Again, that's an option. They'll take you basically the same way as the 68 bus. Let's go to the next one. So the QM63, it runs along Merrick Boulevard. This is another option as well. So if you take Nassau and County Express from Freeport, you could get off at the city line or 149th, and actually no, I'm sorry, Merrick and 224th Street is where you would pick it up. And then you could just take that into the city. Again, that's 725. Let's go to the next one. You forgot the other express bus, the QM6. So Union Turnpike could be a great option. If you live on Union Turnpike, and again, this is for Bayside residents. Bayside residents already know. I mean, all the residents in Queens already know about the express bus, so I'm sure all those people will go on the express. But for those of you who live in New Hyde Park, you may want to consider taking the N25 going towards the hospital, getting off here, and getting on these buses. You can get on these buses. It'll take you into the city. It's the QM6. And if you go further down to 188th Street and Union Turnpike, you can get on the QM7, the QM8, which goes downtown. So that'll take you to Wall Street and all of that. All right, Jack, keep going. And also the QM5. So you have the QM1, 31.5. Those buses have very low capacity. So again, not a lot of people ride these buses. This is your go-to option if you're on a limited budget and you need to get into the city. And the QM6 coming back home, the last bus is at 12:30 at night. So for those late night people, the express buses, the last ones are around 12:30, 12 o'clock on weekdays. Now on weekends, the last bus is like around 11 p.m., 11:30 out of 6th Avenue, 36th Street. So again, you have options. Now, for those of you wondering, where do I find these schedules on the MTA's website? You could go to the mta.info, and then you're going to click on the schedules page, and you could find it right there. If you scroll down, as my colleague is pulling it up now, let's scroll down, Jack.
Also, if it's easier for you, you can type in mta.info/schedules, and that will pull up the schedules page.
Right. And then you're scrolling down. Once you're on the page, and you're going to click on Queens Bus Schedules, where it says printable bus schedules, and you have all the routes there. And go scrolling down, all the express bus routes in Queens that go near Nassau County and the border are all there. So there is one route that actually goes into Nassau County, and that is the QM64, Dutch Broadway and Elmont Road by the N1. So that's an option for you. You also have the QM65, which goes downtown. That's the new route that they created. But again, you also have routes within Queens too. So for those of you who are doing drop-offs at Woodhaven, you may want to consider some of these other buses, like the the QM10, QM11. Those buses run, I think, in the vicinity of Woodhaven, if I'm not right, if I'm correct. Yeah, I'm correct. Yeah, they run over there, and you can take those buses as well. So there's options, guys. There's a lot of options. So if you can get a seat, the earlier you leave, the better chances you have. So that's what I would say to you. And once you're on that express bus, you can fall off to sleep. So that you have options. And also for those of you who cannot afford the express bus, there is the poor man's option, which is the Q88 bus. So you could take the Q88 from Queens Village. It stops at the Queens Village LIRR station, and then you can hop on the Q60 at Woodhaven Queen Center Mall, or you could try to get on a stop before the mall to avoid the crowds, and that'll take you right into Manhattan. But I'm telling you now, that trip is probably going to take you 3.5 to 4 hours with all the traffic. So if you're an essential worker, you have to get to work. That may be an option for you. Um, and what other routes are we missing, Jack? Are we missing anything? Let's go to Belmont Park. Let's do the Q2 and the 82. That's also an option for you. You could do the Q2. It starts at Belmont UBS Arena. And by the way, there is no parking at Elmont UBS Arena anymore. Just wanted to let you know. I was told by people. So if you do a drop off at Belmont, uh, you could just walk on Hempstead, and the first stop is 225th Street in Hempstead. Or I wouldn't suggest going into the arena to pick up the bus. Nah, I would just pick it up at the city line. Um, and you can take the 82. The 82 will get you to 179th Street. But the 82 and the Q2 will get a little crowded. But again, just be patient, get on the bus. And also, you have the Q110, which runs along Jamaica Avenue. That actually goes right to Floral Park. So you could take the Q110, that'll take you right there. So you have that option. You also have
And don't you want to mention the Q46 as well?
Yeah, I'm getting there, Matt. Give me a second. There's a lot going on. I'm sorry, Matt. So let's go to the Q46. You have the Q46 option on Union Turnpike, and you also have the Q48. So if somebody wants to drop you off closer, you could take the 48 as well. That might be an option for you. And there's a lot of service on Union. So early in the morning, they have good service there. Starting in the 4 o'clock hour. Actually, no, wait a minute. Jack, you're showing the wrong one. You want to go back to the schedule going westbound. Yeah, but they have enough service on the 46. In the 6 o'clock hour, there's a bus. You should be able to get on. So you have ways to get around. We're giving you all this information. And try the J train, guys, in the city. The J might be light. The Z might be light. The 7 will be crush loaded because you're going to get all the Port Washington people going there. And by the way, guys, if you're going to do a drop off in Flushing Main Street, I don't suggest you pull up right to the subway station. I would say do the drop a few blocks off and walk to the station because there's going to be heavy traffic there. Heavy. Main Street is always congested, so just keep that in mind. And then, did our colleague, Mr. Wittgenstein, did you want to talk about Port Washington? Anything we missed about Braidneck? If he's still
I
on?
think hi. I think I think the N20G is the main thing. If you live in Western Great Neck toward Little Neck or Douglaston, that part of the branch, you also have the Q12 on Northern Boulevard that starts along the city line. Um, if you're trying to get further to South Queens, maybe take the N25 south and then get the N22. Because if your goal is not Northern Queens, if your goal is not the 7, it's going to be very hard to navigate once you're in Queens. So maybe go north south while you're still in Nassau.
That's a good idea. Yeah. That's a good idea. And I think those buses have Arctics too, right? On the end. Yeah.
The N22, maybe the west east ones. The north south ones like the N25 don't. But
No, I'm talking about the Queens routes. The
yeah,
Q12 is the Arctic.
Q12 has Arctics, yes.
Yeah. So you might have space there. Yep. You could do the Q12. And then the other option is we also got reports there was going to be a ferry. There was going to be a New York taxi ferry.
That I do have information on that. That's only specifically for people who are employees of NYU Langone, I believe, if I am correct. That's what I
Okay.
heard. But let me
Okay.
double verify that information.
I think Jack is pulling it up right now. Okay. So I thought I saw something about that.
Yeah. Okay, I have it right here. So it's for NYU Langone workers only. It's not for the general public.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So for those NYU employees, you're covered. Um, and then the other things that we were going to mention now, what happens if the subways go down? And guys, don't be surprised if it happens. And I suspect it probably will. So if that's why we're saying I think the express buses work. It's a little more expensive than the subway, but I think you have a better shot of making it on time. Would you agree, Matt and Jack and the team?
I'm sorry, what's the question again?
The express buses, because if the subway goes down and you're stranded in the middle of nowhere, so I think because they have 12 nines on the subways, people get hit by trains and
Yeah,
there's
I
signal
agree.
issues.
I think it's better off in a situation if, let's say, the E or F goes down, or the 7 goes down, or the A goes down. I definitely recommend the express buses might be a better option. It will be quicker than trying to navigate, getting around the issue, and then, you have to deal with, let's say, the local buses. You deal with all the traffic. It's just, honestly, it would be a huge hassle. I think it would be worth using the express buses in that
And
situation.
also, they have a HOV lane on the LIE into the Midtown Tunnel if you use the express bus. So I think the express could work. And for those who cannot afford the express bus, because we have a lot of healthcare workers who make minimum wage or who make a little bit close to that, I would say just get on the 88, the 60 if you're coming from Southeast Queens. If you have fare capping on your Omni card, you could do that, and that could work. You also have the Q66 down Norton, which will take you right to Long Island City. You could do that. What else? Am I missing something, guys? Because I know I'm missing something. Oh, Far Rockaway's express buses. There is an express bus in Far Rockaway, which we forgot to mention, Jack. What's that bus in Far Rockaway? The QM 17 and 16? That could be an option too for people. Yeah, that actually could be an option for those coming from Long Beach. If you take the N33, yeah, you could get off and get on that bus, I believe. It runs, let me see, Beach 21st Street and Mott Avenue. Yeah, there's a bus. There's about, let's see, six. Yeah, so there's about four buses in the 6 o'clock hour, one in the 5 o'clock, if I'm reading this right. Um, and they've also extended the 17s now. If I'm reading, oh no, the 17 goes the other way. So actually, that could be well, but yeah, I think the 16 would be better, right? If you're coming from Beach 21st and Mott, yeah, that would probably be better. So where would they pick it up if they get off the 33 from Nice Bus? If they're coming from Long Beach? Sorry, guys. I know this information on the top of my head, but we're trying to visualize it and pull it up for you so you know where to go. Um, Jack, you should have just pulled up the MTA's bus map, but that would have been better because then we could just visualize and see where it is.
The N33 actually drops you off at New Haven Avenue and Beach 20th.
Right. And where's the express bus stop so people know where to go when they get off that bus? You're going to Far Rockaway, Jack. Queens. Oh, it's not mentioned there? Okay. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, the problem is with the new bus map, they took all the nice bus routes off.
Crazy. That is shameful. So yeah, I think you could pick it up along Mott Avenue, if I'm right, by the subway. Beach 20th Street along there. Yeah, and you could get on the QM 17. You can also get on the QM 15. So did they extend the QM 15, Jack? I think they did. Let's look at the QM 15 because I remember reading that. So for those of you who want to do drop and ride, if your relatives or your spouse wants to drop you off in Queens and you live in Long Beach or you live on the South Shore, this may be an option for you to take the Jack, I think it's the other schedule, right? It's the 15.
Yeah, this is the 15.
Okay, so what is the 15 start? Can you go down below on the map grid? There's a map grid down below. Go to the map. Go down. So I thought they extended it. Because I thought I saw a schedule saying they extended it. But I guess they didn't. But that's an option too, guys, the QM15. Instead of taking the A train like the MTA is suggesting at Aqueduct, maybe you could take the belt, get off there, and then get on that express bus to take you there. So that's an option too. But again, guys, you have many ways to go, many options. So you have that. And also, are there any other suggestions, guys, that we can give people?
I mean, I
If
did have one thing regarding a major event this weekend, but I don't know if that's the topic for this video.
Yeah, bring it up, bring it up. Yeah, next
Okay,
game.
so there is a major event going on this weekend in Queens at City Field. It is the Subway Series. Yankees are playing the Mets. Now, if you are coming from Long Island and you're going to the game tonight, if you're watching this video, I don't know if it's too late, but there is a shuttle buses that are running. They're $9 round trip from both Roosevelt Field Mall and Walt Whitman Mall. It's a very convenient route, I think, because it will take you directly to City Field, and it leaves after about a half hour after the game. Now, tomorrow and Sunday, if the Long Island Railroad does go on strike and you're coming from the North Shore, there is another option that will be available for you, specifically in Manhasset. This is only if the Long Island Railroad does go on strike. The New York Mets did announce this the other day, and this route would take you directly from, I believe it's the mall in Manhasset, American. Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's what's the mall up there in Manhasset I'm thinking of? I know exactly. I just got Americana Manhasset. That's what it is. Americana Manhasset. There is a shuttle bus that will be running both tomorrow and Sunday. If the Long Island Railroad does go on strike, again the same price, $9 round trip, and there will also be shuttle buses available from both Roosevelt Field Mall and Walt Whitman Mall in addition. Now keep this in mind, on the Manhasset route. If the strike is averted, you would get a refund for that. The shuttle buses would not run from there. However, the Roosevelt Field and Walt Whitman Mall options, the shuttle buses run for every Mets home game, not just because of the strike. Now, my understanding is I believe they might be adding some additional capacity at both Walt Whitman Mall and Roosevelt Field for the shuttle buses if the Long Island Railroad goes on strike. So definitely, if you want to avoid all the traffic this weekend trying to get to City Field that the Long Island Railroad does go on strike, please take advantage of those shuttle buses. Although I would encourage you, please get your shuttle bus tickets now because if the railroad goes on strike, I guarantee you they're going to sell out.
Okay, why don't we cover people going to the airport? Because this is something that came up. People may want to go to the airports. And so if you're coming from Nassau County and you want to go to the airports, if you're coming from the South Shore, let's start with Freeport. If you're going from Babylon or Freeport and you want to go to LaGuardia Airport, let's make this difficult. What you could do is you could take the N41, right? And then you could take the N6 to the F train. And then you would get off at Roosevelt and take the Q70, the free Q70 bus. Now, if you don't feel like doing all of that, you could just take the 41, the N6, and you could take the the Q27. You'd have to walk to Queens Village in Springfield, and then take the Q27 to Flushing, and then hop on the Q90. Or within Nassau County, I guess you could go to the N20H, hop on the N20G if you're on the Port Washington, North Shore area, Hicksville area, and then you would get off at Flushing and hop on the Q90. Am I correct, guys? I believe so. Yep. So that's what you would do. Jack, can you pull up the Q90? So you could do that. Now, for those of you going to LaGuardia Airport, so LaGuardia, I'm sorry, not LaGuardia, JFK, guys, sorry. So we covered LaGuardia. So let's go to JFK now. For those of you going to JFK Airport, if you're on the South Shore, North Shore, you would just take a nice bus. You could take a nice bus to Hempstead if you're coming from the North Shore. So you would take the, what is it, the N41. Well, if you're coming from Port Washington, you would take the N23, then you would hop on the N41.
You would the N23 from Port Washington, transfer at Minneola for the 4041, and then actually, 4041, and then if you want, you're going to JFK. I think the better option would be go to Freeport and then take the
Right.
N6,
And then get off at Farmers and get on the Q3.
and then also keep in mind the air train will be running if the strike happens, so that's an option.
Yes. But again, the South Shore routes that link up with the airport buses are the N4X. You can also do the N6. You take it down Hillside and 188, and then you can hop on the Q3, and that'll take you right to the airports. For those of you who want cost-effective ways to the airport. And for those of you wondering why we don't have visual illustration showing this, we just tried to rush this video. We were hoping the railroad would not go on strike. Again, we don't know right now if there's been developments. Have there been any developments, guys, or not yet, right? But so again,
No
Jack,
news as of right now.
okay. So is there anything else that we wanted to cover? Because I know late night travel. Why don't we just do late night travel for those? So the only routes that run late night is the Q110. The Q110 is a good option, and the 43 and the Q1 are good options from Jamaica overnight. Also the Q27 runs from Flushing Main Street, and then from there, I guess if you want to take the 43 or the 1, you could do that. The 36 does not run overnight, just so you know. What are the routes that are close? The Q12, I believe, runs overnight. On Norton, and then what are the other options, Jack and Matt?
I'm sorry.
I know the Q2. The Q2 runs. The Q82 doesn't run overnight. I'm trying to think of some quick options. Oh, the 114, 115, all those routes along Guy Brewer that go to Far Rockaway from Parsons Archer and Jamaica Hillside, those buses run. So those connect to the F train. Those are your other options as well. And then what other options do we miss? Jack, can you pull up the map again, please? Thank you. Go down to the route map grid. Do we have that or no? Oh, we don't have that anymore. They got rid of it. Shame on the MTA. Let's just go to the bus schedules real quick. It'll be there. We'll have to go back to the bus schedules. So yeah, these are all the bus schedules. So again, the buses that run overnight, go down below, Jack. For those of you living on Long Beach, all over there, what you could do is if you take the EOF trains and then you get on the 113, 114 buses in Jamaica or the 115, you could probably have somebody pick you up somewhere along in Southeast Queens, and then you could go back to Nassau overnight. So those are options for you. And then the QM21 bus.
What if you don't have someone to pick you up overnight?
Right. So then you could take the N4X, I'm sorry, not the N4X, the N4 local at night, and I believe there's a bus hourly service they have. I don't know if Nice Bus is going to add extra service. They might, so that could be an option for you. Or if you live close to the Nassau Queens border, you may want to walk it if you're good at walking. Just to save money on Uber and cabs and all that crap. So that could be an extra cost for you. So I think we covered pretty much everything we try to cover. If there's anything we're missing, but again, for those of you, you have express bus routes within the borough of Queens. So my advice would be go to the MTA's website, click on schedules, scroll down, go to the Queens bus schedules, and then click on express buses. And you will see all the express bus options. I think these are better options than what the MTA is proposing because these shuttle buses that they're proposing are going to be free. But remember, it's first come, first serve. And if they're only running a bus every 10 to 8 minutes, I don't know if that's going to be, you might be waiting there forever. And who's to know what happens if you're in the city, right? And then you miss the last bus and you cannot get your car out of the parking lot. So these are things to consider. Um, so I would just say give yourself extra time. The strike is going to be very hard. On the weekend, it shouldn't be that bad. But if this strike goes on through Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and remember, hot weather this weekend. So when you have hot weather, people tend to be angrier, people tend to be moody. So again, drink a lot of liquids, pace yourself, give yourself time. Time is going to be your best friend with this strike. Um, we're about to wrap it up, but is there any other suggestions, guys?
Guys, Andy Pollock here. Just wanted to bring up that one of our members, John Mitch now, I just heard from
I
him.
know, we know about
He's
that.
going to
Let's
be on
not
News
get
12
there.
tonight.
I know, we're not going to get there.
All
Sorry.
right.
John's not here, and no, he should be here. Sorry about that. We're not going to get into that. That has nothing to do with it. But Andy, did you want to talk about options in your area?
Oh, well, I just wanted to bring up that regarding my station, Auburndale, don't worry about not having service at Auburndale. You have the Q12, you have the Q13, you have the 27, 28 buses. They get you right to Flushing on the 7 train.
Also, the Q26 is lightly used. That runs a parallel to the Q27. It actually runs on the
Oh
Q27.
yeah, the 26 has the new routing.
So the
Right.
26 has low ridership from what I'm seeing. Get on that 26. It goes to College Point, but it stops at Flushing Main Street. So
Correct.
that's an option for you. So again, guys, I would just say before you get on the buses at the bus stop, check empty bus time. And if you see a big crowd and you see a bus pulling up and there's a bus behind, empty bus time tells you if the next bus is going to be crowded. So maybe you want to, look at that. Jack, did you want to show how empty bus time works? That
Yeah,
option?
yeah. Before I do, I want to mention something that we didn't touch on yet, and that is for commuters coming from the east end of Long Island, past Ronkonkoma, past Babylon, past Patchogue or Spionk, coming from either the
Amityville.
North or South Forks or toward the
Amityville.
eastern end of Long Island before Riverhead. So, and there are many essential workers who use Suffolk County Transit who rely on even Hampton Jitney as well, even though
Jack, can you
they
pull up the Suffolk County Transit map to visualize
increase their
this?
fares. Yeah, I'm going to get that in just a second. The Suffolk Times just reported 3 hours ago that Hampton Jitney did indicate that it would increase service. However, the fares are still higher than the Long Island Railroad. There's no indication that they would be
Matt, can
cross-honoring
you pull up the
railroad
screen? Because we're not
tickets.
seeing the screen here. So people can visualize the Suffolk County map. And also, if you want to go first to the Hampton Jitney, why don't we go there and
Yeah,
then
so
we'll
this
work our
is
way?
the article right here. And keep in mind the North Fork and the South Fork, North Fork in particular, is a major transit desert. And there are many essential workers on both the North and South Forks that rely on Suffolk County Transit, that rely on the Long Island Railroad to get around as well. So let's pull this up, Suffolk County Transit. It does not have Omni, it has its own ticketing system. But let's pull this up here. So with Suffolk County Transit, if this is actually going to work, no, it's trip planner. Detailed map, that's what we want. So the only option that people have on the North and South Forks is the 92. Now, the 92 was never a 24-hour bus route to begin with. Its last bus is around, I would say, around 6, 7 something, going up from the Hamptons up to the North Fork. It does serve Riverhead. It does serve the Riverhead train
Oh,
station.
Matt, Jack, the red buses run every 30 minutes, and the blue buses run every hour.
Yeah, so the 92 runs every hour.
But that
But
66 can get you down to the bus at Patchogue, right? And then you can take that bus, what is it, the 2 from Patchogue? You could take that all the way down. And this is for people who have to go to graduations or whatever, who can't afford Uber. You could take that to Amityville and then pick up the N54, 55. But that is a mission. If you could do it, oh God, that's going to take a
and
whole.
don't count on making connections either. They don't time you.
Yeah. But I think, like, if you want to do that to lessen the expenses of a Uber or Lyft, that may be something. So again, like, I think the closest you can get to the city, so you don't have to do that, that'll save you money. Because again, guys, gas is expensive. Ubers are going to be charging, I can tell you, they're going to be price gouging people. And we have not heard anything from the Attorney General about this, about carpooling with for hire vehicles,
But let's not
nothing.
forget Hampton Jitney too, which does
Yeah, we're going to get to
operate
that.
service. And Hampton Jitney has services from both the South Fork and the North Fork.
Right.
Now, they did
But
say they're going
Jack,
to
one
be.
minute. Since we're on the map, can we just go to the Nassau Suffolk border and just show them the buses that intersect? So that helps people. So you have Farmingdale State College. The N70, I believe, runs every hour or 30 minutes, but you have the N71. That could be an option. I think what it is for those people coming from the far end of Suffolk, if you're closer to like Deer Park or like, then you could go to Nice Bus. But for those coming out from like Montauk and all of there, maybe they could just drive to the Nassau borderline, get on a Nassau bus to take to the subway. Maybe that could be the idea. So maybe that could be something that you may want to consider. But if you have the time, and you want to leave super early, Suffolk, you could take a Suffolk County bus to the Nassau connections and then hop on Nassau County Express. You have the 70, you have the 71. If you scroll down, I think you have the 54, 55 at Amityville. And if I'm missing anything, Matt has to go because I think Matt has to leave. But Matt, what do you think?
Definitely think if you're in Suffolk County, and again, it's a huge hassle getting from Suffolk County to the city in the event of a strike. If you're able to get somebody that can take you to the Nassau Suffolk border, that definitely would be a good option. Let's say you're along that LIE corridor. I definitely would recommend driving to Farmingdale State College and then taking the N70. That route runs every half hour typically on the weekdays, which is I think the best you can do, and then you can take the N70 to Hempstead and transfer for the N6.
Right. And remember, you're going to have to pay double fares. So ask the bus driver if he can give you a transfer on Suffolk. You may get a
So,
transfer.
my
You may be able
understanding is
to.
that you can get a pass with a transfer for Suffolk County Transit. So it has its own ticketing system. It uses the same technology as Train Time, uh, where you can get a ticket using the app. There's a Suffolk County Transit mobile app that you can use to get your ticket, and then you show that. But I think it has a two options, one with and one without a transfer. So, and it has a certain validity as well, similar to the Train Time app.
Right. And also, so again, guys, if you want to go in Suffolk County Transit to see this for yourself, it's sctbus.org. And then you could just click on that and everything should pull up. Or you just type in Suffolk County Transit on Google and that'll come up. But remember, Suffolk County Transit cuts off earlier. So if you're coming from Manhattan and you're leaving Manhattan around 8 at night, or 9 p.m., and you're an essential worker going back east, this may be a tricky option. Nice Bus may be able to get you to the Nassau line, and then you might have limited options when you get to Suffolk. So you may want to keep that in mind. But again, these are just cheaper options for you. And then let's go to that bus, Jack, that you wanted to go to.
Yeah, so the Hampton Jitney, as I mentioned, runs between Manhattan and the North and South Forks, and the prices did go up over the last few years. So it's now, I think, $10, close to $10 more than the LIRR fare. It used to be equal, but then ever since I think around 2022 they upped the fares, but it's all reservation based, so you need a reservation in order to actually get on the bus in the first place. And unfortunately, one thing that Hampton Jitney is notorious for is consolidating buses and consolidating trips. So let's say you're coming from the North Fork here. What they might do is at their headquarters in not Aquabog, Calverton, right past Tanger Outlets. They have a on Edwards Avenue. That's where their depot is, and what they might do at around Calverton or Manorville is they might have a stop for both the North Fork and South Fork service, and they will combine the two buses into one. So those on the North Fork bus would have to get off, get onto the South Fork bus. Now, my hope is that with the strike, they're not going to do that anymore because they know that the LIRR is no longer running. People don't have that option, and the bus is going to be overcrowded to begin with. But
What about the Clipper, Jack? That just came up. The Clipper that runs on the LIE. Matt knows what I'm talking about. I think Matt left. The Clipper.
No, I'm right here. I was looking at the same thing you are.
The Clipper. It runs on Suffolk County Transit. Matt knows what I'm talking about.
you're talking about this one, right?
Yeah. That bus runs very limited service, right?
Oh yes, that's the Suffolk Clipper from Farmingville to it goes to the Route 110.
I mean, that could be an option to get you closer to Nassau. Am I correct, Matt?
It would be. Keep in mind, it's a very limited service, and there's only one bus that actually three buses that run in the and they're all in the morning headed excuse me, let me look that again. We're looking at yeah. Eastbound, yeah, that's eastbound the weekdays. It goes from the LIE exit 63 parking lot in Farmingville, but keep in mind there's only three buses in the morning, and it's one at 6:30, 7:20, and 7:40 from Farmingville.
So again, guys, we urge all of you to look through these websites and the Suffolk County routes that go to Nassau. Real quick, Jack, can we just do a quick run through of the list of the Nassau? No, go on the schedules list. Oh, you want to do it that way? Okay. So the 4 bus connects with the Nassau buses. The 1 bus does. The 2 does. I believe the 12 does. And what's the other bus? The 10? The 10 does as well. So again, those are options. And then on the North Shore, if you go up, Jack, what do you have? You have the N79, but I heard they cut service on the 79. But you could take, and for those of you like in Huntington, you could take the what is it? The H30, H20, take it over to the 79. So those are options for you. So you may want to consider that. Guys, it's going over past an hour now. So I think we covered everything. Jack covered the other options. And for those of you going to graduations this week, there'll be a lot of graduations. My advice to you, leave super early. Get on that first bus. I feel bad for a lot of people because it's going to be a hardship for a lot of people. And again, we'll try to answer your questions individually on Twitter and Facebook if we can. but we're getting overwhelmed with so many inquiries coming in. But we'll do our best to try to answer your questions. We hope this video kind of guided you in the right direction, gave you the advice you need. Matt, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I definitely did. I again, as Charlton said, definitely follow us on our Twitter pages. You can follow obviously the Passengers United Twitter page, but you can also follow me on Twitter at Camper News Net. I am literally keeping an eye on everything. As soon as I see it, it will go out on my Twitter page at Camper News Net. And hopefully we can get you through this, because this is going to be a nightmare if this strike does happen. And also, just a side note, stay updated with our social media platforms as well for the latest on the information regarding the situation at Penn Station. There's some information that came in a little while ago. I'm not going to say it on this video, but if you want more information, go to our Twitter handles.
Is it regarding service for the rest of today, Friday?
Yes, it's regarding. We had an update from the railroad a
Okay,
little
you can
while
just
ago
say it.
regarding that.
Yeah, just say it. You could say it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was okay. So basically, the information we got from the Long Island Railroad a little while ago said basically that there's going to be very limited Penn Station service once again during the evening rush tonight, and essentially, trains are being diverted to Grand Central or Lang. And this is an important note. There's no westbound service to Penn, and the Brooklyn shuttles, they're being replaced by through trains to and from Long Island. And
Okay.
that's Cross
Wow.
Island.
So that
Still in effect.
information is for today, Friday. That information is subject to change
Yes, it
tomorrow
just
and
came in about
Sunday.
3:15.
Right. And again, there could be a strike. So at midnight tonight. And also for those of you asking us questions about the midnight strike, people wanted to know what would be the last trains before strike. And are people going to get kicked off the train in the middle of nowhere? No. So let me explain that. Jack, can I explain that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's pull up the LIRR schedules. Let's pull up the last trains real quick. So basically, I think I can explain this. If there is a strike, and let's say you're on the 11 o'clock train that left Penn Station. But again, they could do a strike in the middle of the night. So basically, whatever trains left before the announcement of the strike, those trips have to be completed. So let's say you got on a train at Penn Station and they declared a strike by the time you got to Jamaica. That train has to go all the way to Ronkonkoma before the crew can then go on strike. That's how it normally works. I don't think any train crew would leave anyone stranded. However, they might, I don't know how operations is going to handle this. They might decide to end trains in Jamaica. I hope they don't do that. I hope all trains will run to the last stop, and not leave people stranded in the middle of the night. So my advice to everyone in the city, do not wait till 12 o'clock. If you're in the city tonight, leave at 9, 10 o'clock. Okay. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank Jack Narenberg. I want to thank Matt Camper and the entire team at Passengers United. We're all volunteers at Passengers United. We don't get paid for this. We work our regular jobs and we volunteer for this. So we're here with you to help you. We're all commuters in this together. Remember a couple of things. There will be no LIR cross honoring on empty buses and subways during the strike. That the empty is indicated that you have to pay with Omni on their website. And the only free buses they're running are from the drop and ride lots, the shuttle buses that the MT has said they're going to run to Aqueduct, to 179th. But remember, those shuttle buses will only run every 8 to 10 minutes, and those buses are going to be crush loaded. So I don't think that's a viable option. If you want to wait it out, you can. But again, there's no guarantee you'll be able to go home back on those buses. So that's that. And again, we're just going to end the stream now. I want to thank everyone. You can also go to our website at passengersunited.org. Again, that's www.passengersunited.org. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube. We're on Facebook. And I want to thank the team for quickly putting this together. Again, this has been a Passengers United special report. Thank you to Matt Camper for joining us. We appreciate all your help. And Matt Camper is on Camper News on his
For
site,
Newsnet.
Camper News Net. And also Andy Pollock, who's one of our volunteers. Want to thank him. John Mitchell couldn't be here tonight. But again, guys, I'm getting ready now to head in the field to talk to everyone. This video, again, will be posted up on our YouTube channel right now. We did have issues with the live stream, so I apologize to everyone in advance. But thank you to Jack Narenberg for putting this together. Thank you to the Passengers United team, Matt Campo, all of you. Stay with us. And again, remember, time is on your side. Drink, eat before you get on the train, and people will get into disputes. If the strike goes on the whole week, the weather will be hot. My advice is just be friendly, help people, and also people with disabilities. Accessoride will still run in Nassau County, and Accessoride will take you to the Queens border where you can hop on the MT's buses and you can get on the MT's Accessoride there if you already have that. I believe that's at Hempstead and 223rd Street by the dialysis center. The other drop-off point is at Green Acres Mall. There's also an Accessoride point there. And on the North Shore, I believe it's at LIG Hospital. So again, I it's going to be very hard. So, if you can carpool with people, if you cannot afford Uber or Lyft, and maybe you can carpool, that may be an option. Again, explore your options, pace yourself, give yourself time. This is going to be a stressful period. Again, this is Passengers United. Thank
Walter,
you.
can I correct, just say one thing regarding the Accessoride situation?
Yes.
So actually, Nice Bus has this. They started this back in 2024, where they actually do go to. They do have an expanded zone. It will take you to either Far Rockaway, Flushing, or Jamaica.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, Erica did not tell us that. So yeah, if that's the case, that's good. But I have a feeling that I don't know whether Nice Bus is going to make adjustments or changes. And also, check the Nassau Intercounty Express website. You can also go to an app on your phone. It's called In Transit. Jack, we forgot to mention that. I'm sorry, guys. So much going on today. It's called In Transit. It's the green app. You can put it on your phone, and that'll give you a list of your transit options. You can also type in MT bus time on Google. You don't even need the app. Just type that in, and that'll tell you your routing. Also check the MT's website for subway delays, train delays. And if the subway does break down in the city, guys, wait it out. Go to a restaurant, go to sit down on a bench, walk around, go to a store, kill some time, and eventually it will clear up. I have a feeling if there is a big delay in the subway, it'll either be at the peak of the rush. So that's why I'm telling people go at the beginning of the rush hour and at the end of the rush hour. There's more capacity heading eastbound, like around from 7 to 9, heading eastbound. The trains are lighter, so you'll get more seats going from Manhattan back to Long Island. All right, guys, this has been a Passengers United special report. Thank you for joining us, guys. Have a good night and a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to date with Passengers United, please subscribe and follow us on social media. Learn more about us and support us at passengersunited.org.